Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
I told my wife I wouldn't drink tonight. Besides, I got a big day tomorrow. You guys have a great time. A big day? Doing what? Well, it's actually a pretty nice little Saturday. We're going to go to Home Depot, buy some wallpaper, maybe get some flooring, stuff like that. Maybe Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time. Welcome to Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest, a weekly podcast where movie enthusiasts, ex-movie projectionists, new and old friends take the time to talk about a movie that we just watched and answer that very question, should or shouldn't you watch this? This podcast is a very big idea, my friend. We're talking about a non-exclusive, egalitarian brotherhood where community status, and more importantly, age, have no bearing whatsoever. Get ready to pledge in this week's review and breakdown of Old School from 2003.
When Mitch's life fell apart,
What are you doing home?
he found a new place to live.
We are officially starting a fraternity.
That's genius.
But one man's home
This is my house.
is another man's party.
Half these guys don't even go to the school. I want in.
Luke Wilson, Will Ferrell, and Vince Vaughn.
If you tell anyone about this, I'll kill you. I'm kidding. We'll have him back by tonight.
Old School, rated R, February 21st.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of our breakdown of Old School from 2003. If you haven't listened to part 1, head on over and get that first, and then come back and join us for the spoilery version of our review and breakdown of Old School. So we're going to start off with popcorn trivia.
Let me tell you something, pendejo.
So this is popcorn trivia. So Frank's streaking scene was shot on a city street, okay? As Will Ferrell remembers, one of the storefronts was a 24-hour gym with Stairmasters and treadmills in the window. I didn't know this. And I tried to put stuff in here that I didn't know about the movie, and I thought this was hilarious. So he says, he's quoted to say, "I was rehearsing in a robe, and all these people are in the gym watching me. I asked one of the production assistants, shouldn't we tell them I'm going to be naked? Sure enough, I dropped my robe and there were shrieks of pure horror. After the first take, nobody was in the window anymore. I took that as a sign of approval."
Yeah, that's great. I did see that as well, and I didn't know that before.
Yeah,
before I looked into that.
So speaking of Will Ferrell, he was really naked for the streaking scene. He justified it by saying it showed his character falling off the wagon. The fact that it made sense was the reason I was really into doing it and why I was able to commit on that level, he explained to the BBC. If it was just for the sake of doing a crazy shot, then I don't think it made sense. Still, Ferrell needed some liquid courage and was intimidated by the presence of Snoop Dogg. So whenever I see this, I'm always like, not because I want to see Will Ferrell's dong, but I always am looking, I'm like, oh, he's got to for sure have one of those like peach colored, like, you know,
Thongs.
like what's the thing that has your butt out, the jock strap. Like I always thought he had a jock strap, but it sounds like he was nude, like full nude.
He went for it, man. He went for it.
That's crazy. Some of Luke Wilson's scenes, like when he arrives home, were done in one take, and the crew nicknamed him One Take Wilson. I didn't know that.
One take Wilson.
So I'm sure I didn't know this, but I'm sure you knew this. But the Foul Mouth Band playing at the wedding, it's a real rock band. What? Yeah, you just said it. The Dan Band, and they've appeared in Starsky and Hutch and The Hangover.
A lot of other movies. They've been in a lot of movies. He's a comedian, or at least he started out as a comedian, and then he started just doing wedding singing and brought this flair on it, and then he started getting massive following.
It's some of the best. Like, it still gets me every time, but the first time when I watched it, I was like, I was the same as all the people in dancing, like turning around, like, did I see that? And dude, I have
Right,
I have a
like,
crazy story that I have to tell you about the same kind of idea of like slipping in words that are not supposed to be there. So to the listeners, Dan and I worked at a electronics store back in the day. It was called Ultimate Electronics. It's now defunct. But Dan trained me as a sales guy, and there was just a lot of, I mean, we could probably have 6 podcasts about the shenanigans that went on at Ultimate Electronics. But the one thing that is related to this band just slipping in profanity during the song is, you remember Keith?
Keith Richards?
No, Keith at work. Keith Henniger. Do you remember that guy?
Yes.
So whenever I didn't ever do anything crazy, like we won't get into it, but you guys did some crazy stuff to me and to other people. But the one thing that I hold true to me that I did was whenever he had a phone call, I would page him to the front of the store and I would say Queef Hamburger to the raceway. And then I would say his name really quick the right way, and then I would say it the wrong way. And I thought he never knew. I thought no one knew. And I would see people like look up at the, like at the ceiling. Like, did I hear Queef Hamburger? Or it was Keith. Yeah. So anyway, there's my tie into old school. I've got one other tie in. Like when you see Vince Vaughn's character owning the speaker cities, doesn't it take you back a little bit? Yes, 1,000%. When he's talking to,
like when you watch 40-Year-Old Virgin, man, like that takes me all the way back, bro.
None of that could be done in a movie again. At a 40-Year-Old Virgin, none of those things. Like you can't have that in a movie anymore. But it's for sure true. All of it is exactly what happened.
Well, even old school bunch couldn't have it
there's
now,
a lot of
which
stuff.
is just tragedy.
Yeah, but that's why we have this movie. Keeps us going.
Yeah, but like honestly, this is something that I was thinking about, and I want to add some stuff to some of your trivia. But just while you're on that, what you just said, like this is still relevant today.
Yeah.
18 years later, and it's super relevant.
Yeah.
Like they could re-release this and a whole new generation would watch this and die.
Yeah. I agree 1,000%. Speaking of Vince Vaughn, we were talking about, the Speaker City. So he had to keep the crowd at the Mitchapalooza scene, over 300 extras under control by entertaining them for at least an hour before Snoop went on.
Really?
Yeah, because I guess people were just going ape. I mean, you can imagine all those people there, 300 people just waiting for something to happen. Sounds like a nightmare.
And I bet they were all drinking as well.
Correct. Speaking of Snoop Dogg as well, he agreed to cameo in the film so he could play Huggy Bear in Starsky and Hutch of 2004. So writer-director Todd Phillips admitted to essentially bribing him, using his desire to play Huggy Bear to his advantage. So he says, so when I went to him, I said, I want you to do Huggy Bear. He was really excited, and I said, oh yeah, also, you'll have to do this little thing for me in old school, a little cameo. So he kind of had to do it for him, is what he says. And
it was great.
And greatest highlight of the movie. Actually,
no, you and I have quoted parts of that Snoop song for yes.
Dude, this song, like, I
make money.
I feel like I could be the guy. I don't know who it is, and I'm gonna seem like a super white guy because I am, even though my last name's Compton.
Talk about that paper chain.
It's such an awesome song. He just goes, chicken wings, chicken wings. Anyway, man, it's so great.
It's so great.
Before filming, Vince Vaughn worked with Will Ferrell to figure out their characters' backstories and how they knew each other. He credited that with helping him figure out who Bernard was, which led to several ad-lib moments. The earmuff scene, where he swears in front of the kids, and then I tell the kid to earmuff that all is off the cuff. But that stuff is a lot easier to do when you know who you are and your circumstances and what your characters are, Vince explained. So
I quote that all the time now.
Bro. And here we go. I have it right here.
You sit good for me? I'm going to talk to Uncle Mitch for a second here.
It's so great.
There you go, buddy.
How long have these people been in my house?
They've been here all day. You know, that party that we had last night has given us all kinds of street cred.
Street cred.
Mitch, this is called Rush. We are officially starting a fraternity.
I like it. That's genius.
Will.
Look, you heard Pritchard, all right? We're obligated to do this. Now, this house, he says, is zoned specifically for social services and student housing. Fraternity solves both of those, right?
But this is my house. I live here, Beanie. I'm 30 years old. None of us are enrolled in the college.
Okay, I understand.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, you're getting focused on all the wrong sort of details here. Look, did you or did you not have a good time at the party?
I had an awesome time.
I know that you had an awesome time. Okay? I think the entire town knows that you had an awesome time. I'm trying to ask Mitch whether or not he had an awesome time.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Okay, that's good. And now, wouldn't you want those good times to keep going?
Oh,
but more good. I don't understand it. I don't know why it's so hard for you to admit that you want this. We got 40 guys out there that want this. There must be a reason for it, Mitch.
Look, I appreciate your enthusiasm. I know you guys are trying to help, but the truth of the matter is, I've had a hell of a day, an even worse month, and the fact is, I got 40 strangers out in my living room, and all I want to do is get some fucking sleep. So I'm sorry, but we're not starting a fraternity.
I don't know why you got to do it in front of the kid with the effing. All you got to do is say earmuffs to him. Earmuffs. And you can say, fuck, shit, bitch, whatever you want.
Cock, balls.
Okay, I'm just proving the point. You don't have to celebrate, Frank.
That's got to celebrate it, Frank.
Oh, dude, it's so great.
You don't got to celebrate it, Frank.
Oh, Vince Vaughn is the king of double talk, man. I just love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So did you know, what do you think the last scene that was shot?
Well, I read this, so I know.
Okay, so it's the Mitchapalooza, which I think is a great way to send off the movie.
Send it off. Yeah, completely agree.
So this was another thing I didn't know, but Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson, and Will Ferrell dubbed themselves the Wolf Pack several years before Todd Phillips directed The Hangover. So suck it, Hangover peeps. I have two more trivia points. This one is really cool. Ivan Reitman, director of Stripes and Ghostbusters, was an executive producer on the film.
Really?
Yeah. Phillips and Armstrong wrote and rewrote every day for 2 months at Reitman's house, an experience Phillips described as comedy writing boot camp. Can you imagine being able to go to this guy's house? He's just rich and just sit and pick his brain about your comedy. You're barely writing something new. It's just awesome.
It'd be amazing. I think I know your last one.
Oh, you do? What do you think it is?
You're my boy, Blue.
No, that's not. That's my last trivia point. What do you want to say about Blue?
That the funeral scene.
Yes.
That picture is actually him.
Oh yeah, that is. It's him in the military.
In the Navy.
Yeah, it's
in the Navy. Yeah. Really cool.
And I read too about Blue that he had a long history of acting. And what's funny is this was the movie that everyone recognized him for. Was Old School when he'd be on the streets.
That's another one-liner, right?
Yeah, you're my boy.
That's another one-liner.
Yeah,
Oh,
I use it all
amazing.
the time. I probably used it this week.
All the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So my last popcorn trivia, in the film, Frank gets married at Westminster Presbyterian Church in Pasadena, California. Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson were in that same church 2 years later for Wedding Crashers.
Ah.
Same church. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a good one to add to it, and then we can move on.
All right, I hit me with it.
I think you might like this one. So the Oscars, I don't know if because look, comedies like this are never going to be up for Best Picture, right?
And to be honest, doing a comedy is so much harder than a drama. I don't care what anyone says. Like, it's so hard to do comedy, good comedy, funny
and
comedy.
To carry it for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Absolutely.
So hard. So Oscar doesn't have Best Comedy anything, right?
It's garbage.
But the MTV Movie Awards does.
Yeah.
Now they have Best Comedic Performance.
Okay. Yeah.
And Will Ferrell was the only one out of the cast that was nominated, I think. Maybe Vince Vaughn was too, now that I think about it. But neither one of them won. So this was back in 2003.
Weak.
Who do you think beat them out for Best Comedic Performance?
2003. Someone from Road Trip. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Mike Myers, Austin Powers.
No, I veto that.
No.
I mean,
I veto as well.
I love Austin Powers, but he's not in the top 10 comedies of all time. So sorry, Mike.
No. Yeah.
I would put So I Married an Axe Murderer higher than Austin Powers. Like,
100%. I quote that movie every week.
Yeah, that movie's great. Yeah, I disagree with that. So that's a good. That should be a beef, dude.
It should be a beef.
Speaking of beefs,
where's the beef? Hey, where's the beef?
So popcorn beefs. I only have two, and they're big. Okay. There were plans to produce a sequel with the main characters on college spring break. Upon reading the script, Will Ferrell, when promoting Semi-Pro, said that he and Vince Vaughn had the same reaction when the story just felt like it was repeating itself. It would have been called Old School Dose. My beef is they didn't make it. Like, I don't really care if it's more of the same beats. Like, that's fine. I bet it would have been awesome.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for a second because I brought up a movie that, to me, I would have always have put number one without going 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D as far as my favorite comedy. But they did a sequel, and it was so bad that I couldn't even watch it. And it took the shine a little bit off of the original with Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, so which sequel are you talking about? The one with with Jim Carrey or the one that was made with like a prequel, some weird prequel?
No, I didn't even watch the prequel.
Yeah,
no. I'm talking about the sequel.
Yeah, the sequel wasn't as good. And
not even close. Like it was terrible.
I mean, I'm more forgiving than you are, but yeah, it didn't hold a candle to the first one for sure.
No, and it took a little bit of the shine off. So I think like a George Costanza, you gotta walk out on that high note.
Yeah, but
I agree. I would have liked to have seen another.
Again,
I think there's so much you could do with it. Yes.
I don't want a crap movie, but I'm assuming that, Todd Phillips did The Hangover trilogy, and 2 out of 3 were good. So, like, I mean, I feel like he could have pulled it off.
Even the second one was watchable, even if it was bad.
The second one wasn't
watchable.
great, but it was still fun to watch. Like, you still watch it. But
right.
All right, here's my last beef. Okay. So it didn't seem to make a difference to DreamWorks that Phillips and Armstrong had written the role of Bernard with Vince Vaughn in mind. The studio didn't want him. After his breakout success in Swingers, Vaughn had taken roles in dramas like the 1998 remake of Psycho. This is what Vaughn said. So when Todd Phillips wanted me for Old School, the studio didn't want me, Vaughn said to Variety in 2015. They didn't think I could do comedy, they said. He's a dramatic actor from smaller films. Todd really had to push for him to be in the movie. Like, my beef is with the studio execs. Like, pop off, dude. Vince Vaughn, that's his bread and butter.
Without question. And look, he was actually really good in Psycho. And he was actually really good in like True Detective.
Great. Great.
Yeah, like, look, I can see what they're saying. He's a super talented guy. But between Old School and Wedding Crashers, like the gene and Swingers, like, let's be honest, you just brought that up. Like, there's
Swingers is great.
There's true genius there.
Yeah. Yeah. Any more beefs? Any beefs that you have with the film or anything surrounding the movie?
No, I to be honest with you, it's just King, you know, it's just King to me. So no, I think it's just comedic genius, perfection, and all that. Like, it's not too long. It's not too short. I guess. Okay. You want to know what? I actually do have one beef.
Okay.
One beef.
Lay on the beefs.
And lay on slap the beef.
Slap at the beef. Slap at the beef.
Slap at the beef. So at the end, right? Well, when it's rolling credits, they have just a couple of extra little scenes where, like, the guy's Porsche flips over and kills Dean Pritchard, right? Mm-hmm. 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah. Some of those types of things. Like, this is one where I would have loved to have seen some outtakes,
dude,
some of the behind the scenes dialogue.
I own the extra R-rated version, the unrated version, and they have some bloopers on it. And I think I put it on my server. And they're amazing. The bloopers are great. So check them out. Yeah, check them out on the server. They're awesome.
Okay, I will check that out then, because they weren't on this one, and I just thought, man, I really
no. I meant they're not in the movie. You have to
more.
Watch them separately. Like, they're not part of the movie.
Right.
But they should have been. I agree with you. Yeah, this feels like a movie that should have some outtakes at the end. It'd be great.
Yeah, I just wanted a little more. Like, again, it was great from a timing perspective. I just wanted just a little more, but not more of the story, just more of them being so damn funny.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that brings us to popcorn puzzles.
A sphincter says what?
What?
A sphincter says what?
What?
Exactly.
So my only popcorn puzzle is, I think this is the first time that I'm hearing that Vince Vaughn's character, his nickname is Beanie. I heard Bernard, but for some reason I never heard Beanie before. And during the whole times that I've watched this, isn't that weird? This is the first time I've heard him being called Beanie all the time, and I'm like, who's Beanie? Anyway,
no, I heard Beanie. Yeah,
that's just my personal puzzle. I was like, how did I not hear that all these years? It's weird.
Here's more of just like a puzzle that is more of a credit to Phillips, but he didn't really give virtually any backstory on any character, but you felt like you knew their previous 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's probably when I was mentioning the trivia about how Vince Vaughn wanted to do all the backstory between him and Will Ferrell's character, because I think it really helped the performance. Because you're right. You feel like you knew these guys.
But like even some of the like what is Leah Remini, who's Vince Vaughn's wife in this, like even her, you knew kind of that backstory, and Will Ferrell's wife, you could just kind of see that, maybe they met at a time where he was just an absolute dumpster fire, and she coached him up, but he just, you can take the Ferrell out of the backwoods, but you can't take the backwoods out of Ferrell. I'll tell you what. Which, by the way, probably one of the funniest parts of this movie is when he forgets his own birthday, bro, at the funeral. He's like, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And okay. So that, I think from a puzzle perspective, that's like the other one that I would throw in there, that it was amazing how he was able to pull that together, because they jumped like right into it, right?
Yeah.
Other than the backstory where he's at the seminar, comes home, and his wife is involved in a gangbang, which I guess that's another thing that probably should have came up in trivia. That Todd Phillips makes the appearance when he opens the door and he's like, here for the gangbang.
He's got a dirty stash on and that weird like Jufro. It's so awesome.
Yeah. The pubic curls, it's amazing with a tracksuit, with like a velvet tracksuit,
and he's kind of
on.
like bouncing a little bit and looking around like hey,
he's ready to go. So yeah, that's the only puzzle piece that I would bring in.
I like it. All right, our last category is popcorn redemption.
I have exorcised the demons.
So, like I said in the previous podcast, the reason why this is part of the show is whether we have a really bad take or a good take on a movie, I always want to leave everyone on a good note. And so popcorn redemption is for that reason. And to be honest, all of it is popcorn redemption. I love all of it. I can't think of anything negative to say about it. And I want to play my favorite soundbite of all time. And I could listen to this like 20 times a day. Let me hit you with this.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you. But you're crazy.
Like when he gets shot in the neck and Sean William Scott's like, whoa, that is awesome.
Bro, he says that could pierce a rhino skin from 100 yards away. And then he just pops.
You just took one in the jugular, man.
You got a dart. Wait, what?
What?
You got a dart in your neck.
You're effing neck, man.
Bro, that is, I can tell you that no less than 5 different times that part has gotten me to laugh so hard to the point of tears. Like when he's walking toward the kid and he's pushing kids' heads out of the way, and then Vince Vaughn kind of looks at him and looks at his son like, oh, hey, look, here comes Frank. And then there's a lady screaming bloody murder.
And he just hits the table and takes an endo off into the pool. And then the music starts. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's
man.
So great.
I'm serious when I tell you no less than 5 times it has brought me to tears and sheer gut pain.
Well, let's give it to you one more time.
From laughter.
You're crazy. You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you. But you're crazy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well,
really amazing.
I mean, it's easy to say that I give this a golden bucket. Golden bucket for sure.
Golden.
Yeah, highest marks
Absolutely.
possible. Anything else you want to leave? Any parting thoughts?
I think that this is, even though the script never made it, I still think that there's room for another Old School. And so I hope that they do try to bring this one back. Even though I said what I said about Dumb and Dumber, this one I'm willing to take a chance on because there's just garbage for comedy right
and I
now.
feel like we're at that point where maybe Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn's career is dipping a little bit enough that they could probably just pull this off.
Yeah, they could use a little pick me up.
Yeah.
But no, man. Other than that, as always, brother, like I love being on the pod. I love that you continue to work so hard at this, and I just am really appreciative, man.
Dude, it's mutual, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks a lot. With that, hit me up on the Twitters or the Instas if you want to interact with the great Popcorn Priest at Popcorn Priest. I respond to every tweet, post, comment, hashtag, and whatever else there is. Let us know if there's something you'd like us to watch. Also, if you enjoyed this or any of our previous episodes, please subscribe so you can get notifications on our newest episodes. I love movies, and I would love it if you'd share the love. Muchas gracias. Another way to share the love is sharing those dollars. I've created a Patreon account if you've liked anything up to this point and want to support the show so we can continue to bring you these entertaining reviews. Please do so at patreon.com/popcornpriest. And always, thanks for listening. And again, special thank you to my guest, Dan Sacklunch, for coming on the show.
Make money, money,
make money, money, money. We'll see you guys on the next one.